Hello. This presentation will cover the evidences for the Big Bang, the life cycle of a star, our galaxy, the solar system and the Earth, and also how life came to be. Many scientists believe that the universe began with a Big Bang. The Big Bang theory came from many different studies, but two main different approaches were used to study the universe. They were astronomy and cosmology. Many scientists are working together to understand how the universe came to be. Many people now believe the universe expanded and life began. Everything contained within space is spreading apart from everything else. Many people are led to believe that the Big Bang is when energy in the universe was concentrated, then exploded. But this is what actually happened. The Big Bang led a lot of energy into a small universe. The universe started to get bigger and bigger to allow more space. That is still happening today. There are many evidences for the theory. The first piece of evidence is that scientists are fairly confident that the universe had a beginning. The second piece of evidence is that the scientists saw the galaxies moving away from us at speeds proportional to their distance. This is called Hubble law, named after Edwin Hubble. This theory supports the expansion of the universe and supports that the universe was once all tight and compacted. Hubble made the law in 1929. Hubble's law has two possible explanations. First is that we are at the centre of an explosion of galaxies, but this has been proven wrong. Or second, the universe is uniformly expanding everywhere, which is more likely. The third piece of evidence is that the universe was once extremely hot, as the Big Bang suggests, and as the universe expanded, there was more space and that allowed it to cool down. NASA has a theory that the universe was extremely hot until neutrons and electrons and protons were decayed, or combined, and that the universe began to cool. NASA believed that the free electrons would have caused light to scatter the way sunlight scatters from water droplets in the clouds. The Bible has a different view towards the Big Bang. The Bible tells us that the Earth was created before the Sun. The Bible says that the stars came after the Earth did, but evolutionary models state otherwise. Unlike the Bible, the Big Bang states that there was an expansion, but the Bible's views up that God created the universe. The life cycle of a star is an interesting one. There are two main cycles, one for stars the size of our Sun, and one for stars a lot bigger than the Sun. Both types of stars have the same first steps. The first step is when gravitational forces pull together clumps of dust and gas. Then chemical reactions start to take place, the changing of hydrogen into helium, meaning the star is born and it has entered the main sequence. These reactions will continue to take place, keeping the star producing light and heat. Our Sun will live for a total of 10 billion years in this state. This is the longest state and is where the two types of stars split paths. For stars the size of our Sun, the next step is to become a red giant, where the outside of the star expands and the centre of the star contracts. The outside of the Sun will be a lot cooler than it is now, with a much hotter centre, as it is now trying to transform helium into carbon along with other assorted heavy elements. After that, the next step is becoming a white dwarf. This happens when the star has run out of helium to burn. The star's outside will continue to expand. In the case of our Sun, it will expand so far it will swallow the Earth. The outer layers will then disperse, leaving the dense core, which is the white dwarf. This is the densest the stars the size of our Sun will become. Finally, the star turns into a black dwarf. This will happen once the star radiates all the heat it's made over its lifetime. The star's a lot bigger than the Sun. After completing the main sequence, they become red supergiants. The same as a normal red giant, only much larger and not lasting anywhere near as long. After that, they explode into a supernova, where it will radiate as much energy as our Sun is expected to over its entire lifetime in a split second. And that explosion can briefly outshine an entire galaxy. It is set off either by the gravity collapse of a supergiant or by a sudden restart of nuclear fusion in the degenerating star. After that, they either turn into a neutron star or a black hole, both triggered by further gravitational collapse. If it becomes a neutron star, it will be the second densest matter in the universe, covered in an iron shell, and will slowly radiate heat away. If it becomes a black hole, it will become the densest kind of matter in the universe. It will become a place so dense with so much gravity that nothing, not even light, can escape its pull. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is a huge place. It is 100,000 light years across, contains 300 billion stars, and has been around for 13.2 billion years. There are three main kinds of galaxy: spiral, elliptical, and irregular. An ordinary spiral galaxy has its arms attached to the center of the galaxy and can have as many arms as it feels like, whereas barred spiral galaxies have only two arms attached to a bar that sticks through the center. Elliptical galaxies are sphere-like in shape, but from our perspective here on Earth, we can only see a disc-shaped galaxy. Irregular galaxies have no real structure to their shape and just look a little disorganized. The Milky Way fits into the category of barred spiral, but it also has two more minor arms. Inside the Milky Way is our home, the solar system, rotating around the center of the galaxy once every 240 million years. The Earth was created from a big cloud made up of different elements. This collection of dust started to come together about 4.5 billion years ago. When the Earth was first created, there was a lot of volcanic activity which made a very basic atmosphere containing absolutely no oxygen and would have been toxic to most modern life. Also, at the beginning of its life, the Earth was still molten, and then the surface eventually cooled to make the Earth habitable and allowing for water to reside on the surface. When the Earth was first created, it was constantly colliding with other bodies like meteors. One of its more significant collisions with an astronomical body that has been estimated to be the size of Mars has been deemed the reason the Earth is at an angle, and the Moon was created out of the debris from this massive impact, called the Big Splash. There are many different theories on how life came to be. This is known as evolution. The two most common known theories are Darwin's theory and Lamarck's theory. Darwin has three theories on life on Earth. First, he believes that life on Earth is very old. Secondly, he believes that all life on Earth only has one or a few ancestors. And thirdly, he believes that the mechanisms of this changes in natural selection. Darwin's explanation of natural selection is that variation exists within any population of organisms. He believes that all living organisms face a daily struggle to stay alive and reproduce. He believes that the organisms with the features that best suit the surrounding environment will be able to survive better and reproduce more. Then they will be able to pass on their characteristics to their offspring, which means over time the population becomes better at surviving for longer in their environment. John Lamarck attempted his first scientific theory of evolution in 1809. Lamarck's theory was that the characteristics of a living organism could be developed during a lifetime due to the use or disuse of different parts of your body. Lamarck suggested that the development of different body parts could then be passed on to their offspring, meaning that they would continue to change until they were best suited to their environment. There are different types of evolution, such as divergent evolution, convergent evolution, and parallel evolution. Divergent evolution is when there are new forms of species that have evolved from a single ancestor. Those new species will then evolve into the surrounding environments, which means that there is already a species that evolves over time and turns into a completely new and different species. Convergent evolution occurs when organisms have the same structures but very different origins. This is most likely to occur when the organism has the same living conditions and lifestyle. Parallel evolution is when a species form the same or similar features to another when separated from each other, even though they have different lifestyles. Thanks for listening to this presentation.